I feel like the way to beat the Chiefs is not to put the ball in Mahomes' hands.
Right, yeah.
You know? Maybe it's like just being close to the Chiefs. People say the weirdest things about them. Like, it's almost like they don't see them. And then they're like, oh, yeah, the Chiefs. Like, it's like when Brady was playing in New England, it was like the apex of his career. There wasn't a soul alive who was like, listen, got to shut down Lawrence Maroney. Like, who the hell is going into a game against the Kansas City Chiefs and being like, listen, gotta cut the legs out of gotta cut the legs out of that ground game. Gotta hold down Pacheco.
Thanks for listening to KC Sports Network, proudly presented by Emprise Bank. If you're thinking about starting a business or know someone who is, check out Emprise Bank's SBA loans. It's always good to know your options, and they can be your partner in possible.
5 things to watch here on KC Sports Network, getting you ready for Chiefs Ravens. They will be kicking off the 2024 NFL season. The Chiefs will be hanging yet another banner in Arrowhead, and we got all kinds of things for you to watch from people across the KCSN landscape. I'm Ken Swanson. I'm here with Matthew Lane. Matthew, so excited to get this thing started.
We have people from across the KCSN. Let's go.
Yeah, buddy.
Thanks.
There's a few. Yeah, well, we're not all 5, but we are going to be talking about this. And, you know, this is a big opportunity for a specific group of players. It happens to be the rookies. You know, when you look at this team, not a ton from what they're going to be putting on the field this week, because Hollywood Brown was such a big, key free agent signing. There really wasn't, a ton of free agent signings on this roster. There wasn't a ton of additions outside of their draft that you're going to be able to see in this first week. So I think we're paying attention to a few rookies that are going to be thrust into a position right off the bat. Kingsley Suamataia, Xavier Worthy, Carson Steele, Jaden Hicks, to name a few, Matthew.
Yeah, I mean, let's start with Suamataia here, playing left tackle for the Chiefs, filling in for Donovan Smith, going up against a Ravens defense that was one of the better pass rushes in the NFL last year. And a lot of it was because they were showing a lot of pressures. They were backing out. They were trying to confuse opposing offensive lines. And I do think that is something that all rookies are going to struggle with, but it was something that Kingsley definitely had some issues with at BYU. So now with this offseason with Andy Heck and Patrick Mahomes and the Chiefs, is he kind of got that fixed up? Is he ready for all the different NFL level looks he's about to see from the Ravens? Is he going to be able to sort it out quickly? And then once the play starts, is he going to be in, like, not just is he going to know what's happening, but how's he going to execute? So, like, this is big pressure. He looked good in the preseason. By all accounts, from everything we saw, he looked really good in the preseason, both in pass protection and in the run game. There was clearly some signs that he was still a rookie, which we expect, but it's not like the bar of Donovan Smith is super high to clear. So can he match that level of play in this game? This is a good first matchup for him. Without Clowney still being on this Ravens team, I think this is a pretty good matchup. They're not going to be any overwhelming edge rushers out there. So it's you're welcome to the NFL. It's never going to be easier than this game is right here, but this is a nice, good barometer of where you're going to be for the rest of the season.
Yeah, and I mean, the Chiefs showed a lot of confidence in Kingsley Suamataia throughout this entirety of the process. They basically kind of, gave him the Creed Humphrey treatment when it came to, like, he was thrust into that starting position very quickly in training camp. The reps that mattered, Kingsley Suamataia was getting all of them. He was getting all the reps in training camp when the pads came on. They might throw a bone or two at Wandy Morris, during a 10-10-10 practice. He might get a few of them, but it's basically been Kingsley the entire time. But then they showed a ton of confidence by really not giving him a ton of playing time in the preseason either. He was out early with all the starters. Maybe it was just because they were wanting to make sure that they secure their, keep their offensive line healthy. But this is a guy that hasn't had a ton of reps at this point. But this team has shown immense amount of trust and has handed him the starting left tackle job relatively unopposed when things got down to serious business. So I think this is a good challenge for him. Xavier Worthy's got, I think, a lot of pressure on him as well, especially with the absence of Hollywood Brown, one of the key additions that the Chiefs will not be getting to see this week because of the sternoclavicular injury. Did I get it right there?
You did. You did a good job. I'm glad you practiced that one up. You spent some time in the mirror. You had yourself, and you were...
I think I said like sternovascular a couple weeks ago, and
you added some extra syllables in there. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's just For Worthy, this is going to be, again, this is going to be a tough matchup, right? The Ravens have a good secondary. They have good corners. They bring in Nate Wiggins to go along with Marlon Humphrey and Brandon Stevens, who are going to be starting. Like, this secondary is really good, so it's not going to be a walk in the park for Worthy. They're going to get physical with him. They're going to try to beat him up. They are going to try to put hands on him and make a 165-pound wide receiver deal with that. And we all kind of expect that coming into the NFL. But I do wonder, I think the Chiefs are going to make him run, right? We all remember the Tyreek Hill years where he's just putting insane amounts of miles on cornerbacks' legs. We go back and see opposing corners are talking about how tired they are in the third quarter is like halfway over because of how much running he did. We might get that out of Worthy in this game, just a ton of running over and over again, and eventually hoping that speed gets to pop, really kind of stretch out the defense here, open up space for other guys underneath. So yeah, it's a big spot for Worthy. I think they're gonna give him some opportunities in this game. They are gonna try to highlight him as a receiving weapon, as a player they want to get the ball to downfield. He's gonna get plays called for him. He's gonna get chances. How is he gonna maximize it against a secondary that I do think will beat him up and is very talented?
Agreed. Yeah, I think they're going to give him some chances, and I think they want to try to set that tone in the passing game. They want to try to get down the field, and Xavier Worthy is the vehicle to do that. Like, he's the big game changer that can present some opportunities for them to try to bust things open with some explosive plays, something that we really didn't get to see a ton of until they found a little bit of footing in the vertical passing game or with some downfield plays being made late in the postseason. And oh, by the way, the offense started looking a little bit better there. But if they can establish that, it just opens so many things for this offense. If they're able to, get some softer coverage because of the threat of Xavier Worthy, and if they can set the tone and establish that early, I think that'll go a long way in this offense kind of finding a different footing, with a really revamped group of pass catchers. Jaden Hicks, how much run do you think we get Jaden Hicks on defense?
It's hard to say because what is going to be the, I don't want to say condition or like shape of, but like where's Justin Reed at in this game, right? Is Justin Reed ready to come in right away and play 100% of the snaps, or is Hicks going to have to, maybe step in for him from time to time? How do the Chiefs want to work through a linebacking rotation that is now losing Willie Gay? Are there going to be times where maybe they want to throw in an extra safety on the field and be it a bigger guy so that you're going to get Hicks' bigger body down there or Reed's bigger body down into the box, and maybe Hicks has pushed Shamari Connor to be one of the next guys up there? So this game, more so than with Kingsley and Worthy, where you're like, yeah, these guys are going to be tested, we're going to see a lot from them. This game's going to be big for Worthy to see, or for Hicks to see where he falls in this rotation. What do the Chiefs see as his usage this year? I thought he had a strong preseason. I think he made a push to maybe see some reps over Shamari Connor, who had an excellent rookie year for the Chiefs last year. But if we're just comparing what we've seen in the preseason or from a few training camp clips, I think that's a pretty close competition for who should be the third safety coming off the field. You come out of this game and tell me that Jaden Hicks played 18 snaps and Shamari Connor plays 12. I'm not shocked. I'm not surprised, right? You think that Hicks starts to get a little bit more run. So I am curious to see how the Chiefs want to use him now that Justin Reed's back. Without Justin Reed, his role was pretty clear. Now that Reed's back and fully in the flow, I don't know how they're going to use Hicks, if at all, or he's going to be reduced to just a special teams player until an injury or if an injury happens to occur in that safety room.
There's a lot of buzz for Jaden Hicks outside the building when you see what, Louis Riddick has said, what, reportedly Tyrann Mathieu said, according to, to Brett Veach. There's a lot of people that have some belief in it, see what Jaden Hicks has done in a small sample size and think this kid's going to be a special player and a big contributor. And, I look at like Talanoa Hufanga was a guy that, I think, stylistically, I think there were some similar questions about play style and about, impact in the passing game coming out. And Jaden Hicks has had his rough stretches, as in coverage at times here or there. But if you can mask some of those and let him play to his strengths, I do think there's a player that can make a significant impact on the game. I'm curious to see how the Chiefs weaponize him in his first National Football League game. We'll get to Carson Steele a little bit here before we get out. I think Carson Steele, I'm fascinated to see how many carries he ultimately gets. I think there's just so much open for him. Is he playing fullback? Is he getting a little bit in a single back? Is he returning a few kicks here or there? How much special teams does he play? I'm curious to see what the vision for Carson Steele is. How much has he elevated himself in the eyes of this coaching staff that he maybe doesn't get as much special teams run because he's doing other things on offense? So they're trying to keep him fresh. All kinds of questions I have about his usage here in week one.
I think Carson Steele gets an opportunity to be a kick returner. I think they will put him as back as one of the deep men, at least on one play, but maybe multiple. Maybe that'll be like their entire plan is Carson Steele's one of your deep men, so he might get a kick return, or at least he will be back there. I think there will be at least one, maybe two short yardage situations where they do bring in Carson Steele. Now, is he going to line up as a fullback or a running back on that play? I don't know. He might be your lone running back at a short yardage spot. Maybe they get to at the 1 yard line, either Pacheco's tired or maybe they want to lean on Steele, who's a little bit bigger of a body, especially now that Pacheco's lost some weight, and they put him back there and they say, hey, we're running power, go get behind the guard and just slam into his backside and run into the end zone. He did that in the preseason. Maybe that's something they feel comfortable with, or maybe it's a situation where they go back to that offset, I formation, and they either hit the little quick fullback trap play, or not trap play, but the little fullback ISO right up the middle. Maybe they fake it, and come something out. But I do think you are going to see Carson Steele take a couple offensive stabs, 1, 2, and it's going to be predominantly in short yardage situations. It sounds like Samaje Perine is going to be pretty much a full go as a third down running back. So I don't know if we're going to see Steele much on early downs or third downs, unless it's, like I said, a short yardage, it's short to go situation.
Let's hear from the third member of Matter Days on the KC Lab. Matt Hamilton's got something to watch.
Hey, thanks, guys. And my one thing to watch for this game is going to be the changes that have gone on that Ravens offensive line. Derrick Henry, of course, is the big flashy addition that they added this offseason. But three starters on that offensive line are now gone for Baltimore. How is that going to affect this run game? And Eric DeCosta, general manager of the Ravens, said the other day that they were forced to get younger up front because of the salary cap. That doesn't inspire the most confidence in me. And, there's some talent there. Daniel Falele, big mountain of a man who's going to be at right guard. We'll see. The right tackle situation still doesn't seem totally settled. It's going to be probably Patrick McCarry. Might see some of second-round pick Roger Rosengarten in there. But either way, this Chiefs front, I think Spags is going to dial up some ways to attack that youth and inexperience that we're seeing on this Ravens offensive line. Chris Jones, we know he likes to move him around as a chess piece to kind of attack the weakness of the opposing O-line. That's going to be a huge factor here. But I'm interested to see just how much the Chiefs can kind of take advantage of that, exploit it, get in the backfield, get to Derrick Henry before he can get going and get downhill, where we know he's the most dangerous running back in the NFL once he gets ahead of steam. I'm also interested to see how these Chiefs linebackers respond, because there's a lot to have to deal with this Ravens offense, because it's not just like you can just gear up on Derrick Henry and stack the box. You have to worry about what Lamar can do with his arm. You have to try to contain him from breaking the pocket. So there is a lot on specifically Nick Bolton, I think. In this one, we saw, the Ravens attack him on the ground and in the air in that AFC Championship game. He had some rough moments. He had some good moments. I think this is a huge game for him. And we'll see how the Chiefs can corral what's going to be a really exciting Ravens backfield. But I do think this offensive line is going to be a significant factor here, because if they can't get, it doesn't matter what you have in the backfield. If you can't take care of business up front, it's going to be a long day. All right, and that's my one thing. I'll send it back to Kent for more 5 things.
Thanks to our guy, Matt Hamilton. We're going to take a break. We'll be back right after this.
Shop Chiefs tickets and more with no fees. Plus, save big with code KCSN at ticketsforless.com, the official ticket provider of KC Sports Network.
I love a great deal just as much as the next guy, but I'm not going to crawl through a bed of hot coals just to save a few bucks. It has to be easy. No hoops, no BS. So when Mint Mobile said it was easy to get wireless for $15 a month with the purchase of a 3-month plan, I called them on it. And you know what? It turns out it really is that easy to get wireless for $15 a month. The longest part of the process was the time I spent on hold waiting to break up with my old provider. To get this new customer offer and your new 3-month premium wireless plan for just $15 a month, go to mintmobile.com/KCSN5. That's mintmobile.com/KCSN, the number 5. Cut your wireless bill to $15 a month at mintmobile.com/KCSN5. $45 upfront payment required, equivalent to $15 a month. New customers on first 3-month plan only. Speed slower above 40 gigabytes on unlimited plan. Additional taxes, fees, and restrictions apply. See Mint Mobile for details.
5 Things to Watch continues on KC Sports Network. It's our time to hear from Tucker D. Franklin and Matt D. Verderam. I don't know if that's really his middle initial, but we're going to roll with it anyway. What's up, fellas?
Five Things hanging out with you guys here. Matt Verderam, Tucker Franklin. We are super excited to get this game going. And boy, Matt, do we have a beef of the week presented by Batch Elder Family Farms. Love the folks at Batch Elder Family Farms. Glad they're the title sponsor of the Five Things podcast and also sponsor of this here segment, Matt, as we are talking beefs. We are always talking beefs here. And Roquan Smith has got it started off hot with week one beef, Matt. Look, I was worried a little bit. I was like, oh no, are we going to have a beef to talk about with week one? I mean, week one, we've been talking about this game so much. We're going to have any new beef? Roquan Smith said, don't worry, guys. I got you.
Justin Tucker basically duct taped himself into himself in the locker. Just to make sure nobody, Justin Tucker couldn't have backtracked much. Not saying anything, not getting involved. Roquan Smith's like, no problem, buddy. Got you.
Yeah.
Went out there and just goes, hey, listen, key to win this game, got to make him one dimensional, make Mahomes throw it. Really? Okay. I feel like the way to beat the Chiefs is not to put the ball in Mahomes' hands.
Right, yeah.
You know? Maybe it's like just being close to the Chiefs. People say the weirdest things about them. Like, it's almost like they don't see them. And then they're like, oh, yeah, the Chiefs. Like, it's like when Brady was playing in New England, it was like the apex of his career. There wasn't a soul alive who was like, listen, got to shut down Lawrence Maroney. Like, who the hell is going into a game against the Kansas City Chiefs and being like, listen, gotta cut the legs out of gotta cut the legs out of that ground game. Gotta hold down Pacheco. Like, what? I mean, if you want to make them one dimensional, maybe put 10 DBs on the field and open the best. You know, like the idea that that's the way you're going to win this game is being like, we're going to stack the box.
Right.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Good luck to you. Sure. By the way, the Chiefs ran for nothing against Baltimore in the AFC title game, and Mahomes went 30 of 39. So just throw that out there.
A part of me, too, when I put on my tinfoil hat, makes me think that maybe he's doing some, like, mind games, right? And it's like, maybe he's saying, like, he's stepping out here. Nah, I don't think so.
I don't think so, man.
It's
the old trope of, like, just got to stop the run.
Yeah.
And, like, look, I get it. Yeah, if you're giving up 6 yards a clip or something, then, like, yes, you do need to stop the run. I mean, math tells you that you're in trouble. But what do you think the Chiefs are going to come into this game and be just hammering duo and, like, you know, power O all game like that? Like, they want to throw the ball on you.
Yeah.
They are begging you to just put 7 in the box. That's the point. I'll never get it, man. I'll never get these teams to do this. Like, okay, congratulations. Good luck to you in this game. Have fun.
It makes sense, too, because he is an inside linebacker, right? All inside linebackers, maybe that's the inside linebacker's goal, right? Is to stop the run. Like, that's what you want to do as an inside linebacker. You want to stop the run. But, Matt, as we kind of mentioned on that football show this week, the passing attack for the Chiefs looks pretty revitalized. Even without Hollywood Brown, if they want to pass the ball, I think they have plenty of options to do so.
Yeah, I mean, look, obviously being without Hollywood Brown, this game hurts because it helps you roll the coverage over the top. If you're worthy, if they want to go that way, or they can bracket Travis Kelce, whatever. It opens up a different avenue. Nothing would be funnier if Juju comes in and just immediately puts up like 7 is 90. And we find out that he was just basically like, you know, he was playing coy in New England for a year. But no, I think him not being there hurts. It's the same point. I mean, this is a team that you have Worthy, you have Rice, you have Kelce. And like the other guys on the team, even without Brown, like it's a complement of guys who are capable players, whether it's Hardman or Juju or Watson, right? Like you can mix and match. They can throw it out to Pacheco. They can do different things. So like this offense is pretty multifaceted. And the other thing with the Chiefs week one, as you always know, is you're going to get a million different things you've never seen. But they're just, Andy schemed up like 25 things just for this game. So it'll be interesting. I mean, yeah, my big question with the Ravens in this game is, going to get a pass rush?
Yeah.
They led the league in sacks last year, so normally you'd bet that's a stupid question. But Van Noy had 9.5 sacks. He also had 9 quarterback hits. Like, the odds that Kyle Van Noy is going to have 20 trips to the backfield all year long of 9.5 sacks, pretty low. That BK is a beast, but the Chiefs have a great interior. Right. they don't have Clowney anymore. Like, I just wonder in this game with Baltimore, can they get pressure with 4? And we all know, like, if they've got to start blitzing him, it's bad news. Like, the Chiefs are begging Baltimore to bring pressure. Right? So, like, I just wonder in this game, can the Ravens get to him, or is this one of these deals where maybe they even cover for the first 2.5 seconds, and then it's like, yeah, but you're not covering Xavier Worthy for 4 seconds.
Right.
And you're not covering Kelce for 4 seconds. I think there could be a lot of that in this game.
It's going to be really interesting. I do appreciate Roquan Smith for giving us some beef. And as always, the good bit that I love that Nick Wright does is the bulletin board, and he'll always bring out the bulletin board, put bulletin board material out there. That's kind of what we're going to be doing here on 5 Things. We're going to be looking for that bulletin board material that the Chiefs are going to have going into their game. Roquan Smith made it easy for us for week 1. If you guys want some beef, check out Batchelder Family Farms, where they got some high-quality beef out in Belton, Missouri. BatchelderFamilyFarms.com. They got you covered. Let's go ahead and send it back for more 5 Things.
That's the fellas from That Football Show, Matt Vanderam, Tucker D. Franklin. Now let's go to Benny Heisler and get Benny's plays for week 1 against the Ravens.
All right, guys, appreciate it. What's going on, everybody? This is Benny Heist back for another NFL season here on KCSN. And, of course, shockingly, since the Super Bowl champs are getting things going again, to start the season, that means there is an opportunity to talk about some picks. And I got a few plays over on Underdog Fantasy that I'm excited to tell you about. By the way, if you haven't heard about Underdog, it's the easiest place to play fantasy sports, and it's also the fastest growing app in the industry. What's fun about it is that you can actually draft a fantasy team in minutes if you want to go and play a different type of fantasy game, play a little lower and higher. That's where I have some picks for you. And if you use the promo code KCSN, you get to claim a free pick, which is Travis Kelce to go higher than 0.5 yards. I don't think he's going to get shut out in the season opener against Baltimore, just my suspicion. But it's a gimme pick. So you use promo code KCSN. There's also an opportunity to have first-time deposits get back up to $1,000 in bonus cash. So this is a great way to get the season started. But I mentioned Travis Kelce, higher than 0.5 receiving yards. I'm going to give you a few of my other plays that I like for this game as well. How about Patrick Mahomes? Racing out of the pocket. He's healthy. Ravens got a nice little pass rush. He's always able to extend plays, and especially early on in the season when he's feeling good, being able to extend time. I like Mahomes to go higher than 20.5 rushing yards. On the other side, speaking of rushing, there is a new face of the Baltimore backfield, and that is Derrick Henry. They're going to try and protect Lamar Jackson. He's missed the last few years, some games here and there, getting banged up. That's what you get King Henry for, to get yards from inside the 5, to get those touchdowns. So I like him to go higher than 0.5 touchdowns in this game against Kansas City. And then let's go for a little bit of a lower pick, and that's Lamar Jackson. I think they're going to use him effectively both in the air and through the ground. But when it comes to touchdowns, I like him to go lower than 1.5 passing touchdowns. I think Lamar will get one through the air. I think he'll get one on the ground, but I'm going to go lower than 1.5 passing touchdowns. So you get all those plays over on Underdog Fantasy. It's got a great, easy app. Don't forget that promo code KCSN. You get your free pick, that gimme pick of Travis Kelce, plus a first-time deposit offer up to $1,000 in bonus cash. You can pick them, you can watch them, you can win them. Come play today with us over at Underdog Fantasy. Underdog promo code KCSN. Join in on the fun today. Passing it back over to you guys.
That was Benny Heisler. Let's close things out and get weird to close this show out. The only weird games, guys, have one more thing to watch for you guys.
It's football season, so we've got 5 things, really one thing from the 3 of us here at Only Weird Games. Joshua Briscoe, Seth Kaiser, Nate Taylor. And look, fellas, we did well over an hour looking ahead to this game and everything else that's gone on around the Chiefs as we lead up to the official beginning, mercifully, the start of the 2024 NFL season. But Nate, one thing when we were kicking around other topics, talk about here today that we didn't fully go in depth on the show this week was Travis Kelce. I'm hearing, my sources are saying, he could be poised for a big game coming up on Thursday night, and I'm going to go ahead and say more productive than he was week 1 last season.
Ooh,
Spicy there, Josh. Now remember, Kelce was on the field, so you're asking a lot from him tonight. Excuse me, Thursday.
Oh
What
God,
day
they're
is it?
playing right now.
What day is it?
I don't
it's
know.
Thursday.
Spence. I don't know.
Yeah. So look, Travis Kelce's going to be 35 in a few weeks. Okay, he's ancient. He's decrepit. He is archaic to some degree.
These are Seth's lines.
Oh, that's right. But you know what? He is gonna play against the Baltimore Ravens. He'll probably, have a similar performance to what he had in the NFC Championship game. The most interesting thing that he said during Tuesday's press conference, Josh, was the fact that, hey man, I wrote a whole story about this. Hey man, Andy Reid told me multiple times that you weren't gonna be taking all the snaps, and yet he said, hell no, I'm not listening to coach when it comes to that. So I guess it's okay for week 1, right? That, I mean, he is fully healthy. He does not have, the hyperextended knee, which is what happened around this time last season before the opener. So if you're fully healthy, I guess that means you're playing 100% of the snaps, which I guess is a good thing, but that is counter to everything the Chiefs have tried to tell us from the Super Bowl.
I think the words you were looking for were primeval, primordial, primitive, only of yore.
Oh,
I like that. Prehistoric.
Yes.
Or if, although I think that this synonym generator kind of got stuck a little bit because it's old, very old, age old. It's like, wait, hang on. I think we're
Oldest.
Yeah. We're in the final we're in the final seasons of Supernatural at this point. We're just kind of rehashing old ideas. So the interesting thing for me with Kelce last year, and Nate referenced this, even once he came back in week 2, I don't think they would have, I don't know if their preference was having him back in week 2. They were like, good God, the receivers looked bad, and we can't go 0-2. So, Trav, how you feeling? Not great, coach. Yeah.
Get out
how
there.
Do you feel, yeah, how do you feel about 60 snaps? And, having an unbelievable burden because no one's stretching the field appropriately anymore. Well, coach, what about MVS? What about him? We didn't really see Travis Kelce healthy the vast majority of last season. He looked tired, beat up, gimpy. I talked about this after the Bills game, which was much later in the season, where every time he caught a pass and got tackled, he trudged to the sideline and took a snap off. The dude was hurting all of last year. Then we get to the playoffs, and you're like, oh, wow, look at him run away from Fred Warner. Holy crap. And just Fred Warner, after he shook him so hard, the way someone phrased it was it looked like a piano fell on Fred Warner's back. And I thought that was such a great line, the way he just froze him in place. So it'll be our first look at Travis Kelce in 2024, where there's an opportunity for him to answer some of the, it really became popular last year. Well, he's clearly lost a step.
He's slowing down.
He's slowing down. I'm on record, and we were saying it last year. I was like, guys, he slowed down 3 years ago. He slowed down at 30, 31, and then had some of the most productive seasons of his career, because that's not the way tight ends get open, is not with raw athleticism. That's not how this works. So this will be an opportunity for him. If he can just look like the same guy he looked like last year, non-hurt version, there's going to be a lot of exhales from Chiefs fans and a lot of, oh no, from opposing defensive coordinators who I'm thinking some of them are hoping, if Brown is what the Chiefs are hoping he'll be and he gets healthy, and Xavier Worthy is what the Chiefs are hoping he'll be, and Rashee Rice in his second year, a lot of receivers take a decent step forward in route running aspects that help them against man coverage. We'll see. Mm-hmm. If all those things happen, defensive coordinators have to be hoping, man, I hope Kelce is actually slowing down. But what if he's not? Or what if he already did 4 years ago, and now this is just who he is now? I'm interested in seeing that. Does he look like playoff Kelce? Because then we can know last year during the regular season, he was hurt and he was being asked to do way too much.
I on that level, kind of spinning further on the rest of the guys, this is in no way prescriptive of what we're going to see on Thursday night, but something that will inform how we talk about this game and the rest of the season. How often does it need to be Kelce? Because when it needs to be Travis Kelce and his leg and knee and foot aren't actively betraying him, it can almost always be him, and the Chiefs will be in a great space for that because he's the greatest tight end who's ever lived and remains one of the most uncoverable pass catchers in football despite his nearly Sethian age. I want to know how often Patrick Mahomes takes the deep shot to Xavier Worthy because Kelce's at least reasonably resembling covered and Worthy finds his spot. Or how often is it Rashee Rice or maybe Juju Smith-Schuster on a third down to move the chains, right? Because not only was it a lot of weight on Kelce's shoulders, it was a lot of weight on his shoulders all the time he was out there. All of that, of course, will help indicate if the Chiefs start 1-0 or 0-1. Either way, we will be back to talk about the game Thursday afternoon on Only Weird Games. So we will, Seth, sorry to let you know, but the game is Friday. Did I say Thursday afternoon?
You did.
We'll be back on Friday. Tucker cut that out. No one heard that. No one's hearing any of this. It's going to be seamless. Friday afternoon, we'll be back for Only Weird Games to break down whatever Travis Kelce does and to hopefully celebrate a beautiful start to the 2024 NFL season. Tucker, obviously, don't edit that out.
Thanks to the fellas at Only Weird Games. That is 5 things to watch, getting you ready for week 1. Banner drop, Chiefs Ravens. Get excited. I don't even need to tell you that. I know you already are. So am I. Let's see what happens with this game. I'm Ken Swanson. We'll catch you later.